How's it going, Yankee fans? Welcome back to Fireside Yankees with Alex and Ryan. Today, it's the Devin Williams episode because, well, he sucks, and I can't fathom to watch him pitch another inning for this team in a high-leverage situation. I think it's time to move him into the low-leverage spots, Ryan. I think it's time for him to be pitching in the 6th inning, the 7th inning, basically any situation where he is not able to ruin a ball game. And he could still do that in the 5th or 6th inning, don't get me wrong, but yesterday, critical moment, need to get outs, need to put your team in a position where they can get into the Texas Rangers, like deeper parts of their bullpen to get some offense going. And Williams goes out there. I know that Jason Dominguez ball, like maybe could have caught it 55% catch probability. It was still hit really hard. I'll give Jason a little bit of slack there, but you cannot be walking two batters in an inning. You talk about walks, Ryan. Devin Williams walking batters in critical moments is unacceptable. There is a time and place for Devin to be pitching. Aaron Boone, once again, we talked about this yesterday for literally 45 minutes, once again chose the worst possible moment to put a reeling pitcher into a high leverage spot coming off a blown save, right? At what point do we have to say, and I think at this point I'm already there, that was on Aaron Boone. That was Aaron Boone's fault. You cannot put him in a spot like that. And if you do, you got to take him out before he has a chance to give up 2 runs, which he ended up doing to freaking Rowdy Tellez. So, looking at the situation at hand, Ryan, Devin Williams, we'll talk about him, this just catastrophic trade that has brought upon the bullpen. One of the worst seasons of Williams, the worst season of Williams' career, by far, hasn't had an ERA above 1.93 in 3 years leading up to this campaign. And now he's at 5.44. Unacceptable levels of production. He is gone in free agency. The only thing he'll leave behind is a changed beard policy.
Yeah, the first thing that I think of with Devin Williams that really bothers me at least is the walks. I mean, you've walked 10.3% of batters faced this year. I know he's a high walk rate pitcher. It's actually the lowest walk rate he's had in a season since 2020, but it's coming with a much, much lower strikeout rate. It's 29.9%. And he's allowing home runs at a higher rate than he has in previous seasons. He's allowing damage contact at a much higher rate than he's had in previous seasons. This is a pitcher who, in his career leading into 2025, had an 85.2% average exit velocity. This year, that number is up to 89.5. So that's a 4.3 mile per hour increase in average exit velocity against. The barrel rate has essentially doubled from his career numbers. I mean, it is a real disaster this year for Devin Williams. And as you mentioned with Aaron Boone here, if you're manager Aaron Boone, how can you bring Devin Williams into that game and be okay with him loading the bases and think he can get out of this? He's going to get out of this. We should let him try and work this one out. I don't even know how he's the guy you call on first. You have to win this baseball game. I know the offense is a big reason why they didn't win, and the biggest reason they didn't win yesterday was because they scored 0 runs. But again, why is Devin Williams the guy here? Why is Devin Williams continuing to get these opportunities? He's costing you baseball games. He's losing you baseball games. He simply isn't that reliever that he was in years past. Every underlying metric suggests, yes, he's not a 5 ERA pitcher. That's an important distinction to make. But they also all suggest that he's a worse pitcher now than he was years ago. And I'm sorry, you can't keep trying to trust him. You can't keep throwing him out there. He has a negative win probability on the season. He's hurt the Yankees more than he's helped them. So he has undone all the good he did in May and June. And look, we are in August. His ERA is 5.44. I don't need to hear about what his ERA was if you remove this part of the season or that part of the season. This is what his ERA is on the season. And if you look at his last few weeks, he's been atrocious. He has a 9.39 ERA since the All-Star break. If you want to expand that to just since July, it's a 7.11 ERA with 3 home runs, 7 walks, and 17 strikeouts. He is enabling kind of a lot of these losses for the Yankees. And a big thing here, the Yankees have picked him up. The Yankees picked him up when he blew that game against the Rays. That was the Yankee offense that picked him up. When he came in and, he's facing the Braves and he gets 2 saves against the Braves, those saves came with pretty notable leads, like the kind of leads that if you blew it in the 9th inning, that's beyond inexcusable. When they called upon him after they made that amazing comeback in Toronto, he blew the game. So, I haven't seen, Devin Williams, I'm not saying hasn't helped you at all this season. There's never been a stretch where he's been productive, but more than not, he has hurt you. And I think that has to matter for something at some point. At some point, Aaron Boone needs to act on this and needs to say, all right, I've got Doval, I've got Bednar, I've got Hill, I've got Weaver. These are my 4 guys. This is my trust tree. And, if you want to try and throw in Yerry De Los Santos in some higher leverage situations after the outing he had against the Rays that last time out where he looked really sharp, sure. But you can't throw Devin Williams in these situations. He should be in that Mark Leiter Jr. kind of, all right, we'll throw him in the 6th inning if it's a close game. We're kind of shorthanded in the bullpen, or we'll throw him down 3, or we'll throw him up 3 in the 6th. Like, that's fine, but he can't be your, all right, highest leverage, big moment in the game, got to go get him kind of guy. And for pitching staff as a whole, they have to stop freaking walking people. It has to stop. The Rangers haven't hit all year, and the Yankees are just populating the bases for them. Yeah, just hand them the game. That's what I tweeted out yesterday when Williams had bases loaded. Just give the Rangers the game at that point. Don't show up. Do not show up. I said it 2 days ago. If you're going to walk people, don't show up. Stay at the team hotel. If you're not going to come in here and throw strikes against bottom half offenses, don't show up. Go home. Stay in the team hotel. Take the day off. Take the night off. There's someone else in the bullpen who will throw strikes. If you're not going to come in and attack the zone, don't come in the game. Don't show up. Don't report. Don't go to Globe Life Field. Tell Boone your stomach hurts. I don't care. You've got to show up and throw strikes. It's unbelievable. They don't stop walking people. And Williams is a big part of that as well, and I just can't trust him in these spots. Walks everyone, doesn't limit damage contact, good strikeout rate, but it's not elite to the way it was years ago.
No, certainly is not. And I'll tell you what, after such a good pitching performance, Will Warren, just round of applause for Will Warren. The guy put up just a resilient outing. And, a couple of innings where he had some problems, guys on third base, some hits here and there. I'll tell you what, man, Will Warren came to play yesterday. Will Warren came and said, I'm not, guys can get on base, but they're not scoring. And he did exactly what he needed to do. Had some really timely outs and positioned this bullpen. I know he left the game in, I think, after the 5th inning. But, truth of the matter is the bullpen did more than enough. Duvall did enough. They got all the way to the end of this game. But the truth is the bats didn't show up. And Nathan Eovaldi, Ryan, I mean, one of the most dominant starts I've seen from a pitcher this season. I mean, he's having just an unbelievable year. But the Yankees couldn't even touch him. And Aaron Judge looks rusty. I mean, he looks like he had 2 weeks off, to be fair. He was way behind on some of these pitches. He was getting bamboozled by that splitter. But I'll tell you what, the Yankees did enough to win that game. And, your offense is one of the best in baseball. I know there's good pitchers out there, man. Good pitchers that are having good seasons, but you got to get a run across the board. You got to get a run, get 2 runs across the board. Like, make something happen. You're not going to be able to win a championship disappearing against great pitching. You know what I mean? You have to step up. You have to be disciplined. The Jazz struck out 3 times against Nathan Eovaldi. 3 times on non-competitive at-bats. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I'm going to sit here and, blame Devin Williams for, blowing that game. But the Yankees lost because they didn't score any runs. Not because Devin Williams blew that game for the most part. The problem with Devin Williams is that he's consistently blowing games. Over his last 4 appearances, Ryan, 6 earned runs. 6 earned runs. He has a 5.44 ERA. This guy can no longer be anywhere close to the 8th or 9th inning. I don't even trust him in a setup man role right now. They need to have him pitching coming as the first option after the starter comes out. Because at this point, they should have zero confidence that he can get. They need to give the offense innings just to bounce back if he gives up runs. Because right now, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. You know what I mean? He's going to give up runs. You cannot trust him in high leverage situations. You cannot trust him within the last 2 innings of the game because the Yankees don't have enough room to bounce back if he implodes, which he has been every single freaking day. I think in a different universe, the Yankees would DFA him if they could swallow their pride because right now, look, the underlying metrics are good. I know that the whiff rate's fantastic, strikeout rate's solid, there's still metrics there that suggest he can be a very solid pitcher, but he's just not stepping up and doing what he needs to do in critical moments. That is the MO of this team right now. They struggle when it matters most. But, at this rate, Ryan, I'd rather see Yerry De Los Santos in high leverage situations than Devin Williams. I'd rather see anybody. Ian Hamilton I'd rather see in high leverage. And that's saying a lot. At this rate, where do you think Devin Williams even fits into this equation? Because you can't use him in the 8th and you can't use him in the 9th, in my opinion. I think he's got to be in the lowest of leverage situations until he builds back his confidence. And the Yankees need to have innings, 3 or 4 innings left in the game to bounce back if he gives up runs.
Yeah, and I'll say this too when it comes to the Yankee bullpen, the Yankees as a whole. Alex, I I think one line that resonates or should have resonated with viewers from yesterday's episode was when you talked about the mentality and that there might be a mental block there. They are playing to lose. They have become so accustomed to losing at this point that they just find ways to do it. This is a team that's finding ways to lose. They're discovering ways to lose. They're finding new ways to rip your heart out. I don't see it with these guys. I don't see it with these guys. I don't see it with these guys. I don't believe they can turn this around. I don't believe they have it in them to handle the adversity of ups and downs in a season. I believe their manager is also not equipped to do it because their manager does not act or manage with the upper echelon of urgency needed to win baseball games, especially when you're in the middle of a slump. It's that ability to say, there's no shot I'm going to Devin Williams. There's not a shot in the world I'm putting my team's chances on Devin Williams. Not a shot in the world. No chance. No chance at all. You'd have to catch me dead before I do it. I'll do everything I can to avoid using him. And he still used him. He had arms. Both Bednar and the Leiter were warming. I know Leiter hasn't been great this year, and I'm not saying you should have thrown Leiter in that spot, but did we trade for David Bednar so he could throw in the bullpen, or do we have him so he could throw on the mound in the game? In the game. I didn't trade. You didn't trade Rafael Flores for the guy who you have hanging out in the bullpen with the other guys. You have him so that he can step up in big games and get you out of these situations and win you these kinds of games. But it's also on the offense. Again, the offense should not be absolved here because when the Yankees pitch well, they don't hit. When the Yankees pitch poorly, they hit. They cannot pitch. They have not hit when the Yankees have pitched well. They just haven't. They haven't been able to do it. This group doesn't have it. They don't. They do not have it. They lose today, they're out of the playoff spot. And if they do, guarantee you they won't make the playoffs. They can't claw back. They can't fight back. They don't claw back from a hole. They don't claw out of holes. They dig deeper. This is what, and it's not a because of the players thing at this point. It's not of, well, if you change this, you put that guy in, you put that guy out. No. This happens every year. Every year, the Yankees dig themselves in some sort of hole, and they don't ever climb out of it. The one time they did was last year with Soto, with Stanton, dominating in the playoffs. But their best player didn't claw them out of these holes. Their best player actually, in the World Series when they got there, kept digging that hole deeper. Deeper and deeper and deeper. When they had leads, they blew it. 2023, they hit a slide without Judge, never got out of it. 2022, when they hit that slide, they never got out of it. Never got out of it. They looked uncompetitive against the Astros. They had to scratch and claw to beat a Guardians team they were considerably better than. In 2021, they never clawed out of that hole they got in April. They were never contenders for the division. They never came close. And when they played the Boston Red Sox, they smoked them. In 2020, when they started off really well and then they fall back in the division, the Rays take the lead, and they never really battle the Rays for the division and get stomped by the Rays every time they face them. What they do in the ALDS? They lost. 2019. That's the one year where they never really fell in a hole. They just were really good from start to finish. They played the Astros. That was a great Astros team. I can't, again, I'll excuse that one. 2018, you're battling with the Red Sox all year, yep. And then August comes around, you get stomped by them in Fenway. Mm-hmm. You never clawed out of that hole. This team gets punched, and they never get back up. When they get punched, when you really sock them good, like when you really deliver like a good blow, they're done. It's done. They're done.
You want to know why, though, they consistently struggle to get out of like really bad stretches like this? It's because they don't have enough players that are consistently consistent. You know what I mean? Every single one of their players outside of Judge, I mean, even last year in the playoffs, like was not an impact player until that at bat, and then him and Stanton hit those back-to-back homers. He was bad, and then obviously the drop in the World Series, but the Yankees don't have enough players that are just consistently good all the time. You know what I mean? Bellinger's one of those guys. Soto was one of those guys that were just consistently good, if not great, all the time. Right now, their lineup is stacked full of guys that are extraordinarily volatile and extremely susceptible to how other people are playing. Right? Dominguez is volatile. He's a rookie. Ben Rice is volatile. He's basically a rookie. You know, McMahon, extremely volatile. Volpe, extremely volatile. Jazz Chisholm, extremely volatile. You know, how many more guys do we have to go? Trent Grisham, I'd say usually he's extremely volatile. I mean, he goes through ups and downs, but he's been pretty consistent this year. The Yankees don't have enough rocks in their lineup. You talk about good teams, Good teams, their rocks consistently perform. There is no ups and downs and swings and throws and trouts. You know what I mean? Like, it is consistent performance and contributions all the time. They know this guy on any given day is going to get 2 hits. He's going to come up big with runners in scoring position. He's going to work a walk in a big moment. The Yankees don't have enough guys they can depend on to make those moments reality. Austin Wells, non-existent this year. They don't have enough guys that are just can claw their way out of these bad stretches. They don't have enough guys that can say, all right, you know what? I'm not good. Bang, like this is ending today, right? They don't have the guys that are capable of being disciplined enough like that. And that's what happens when you live and die by the home run, live and die by, the upswings of a team. Here's the thing, the Yankees can get hot and go on the most unbelievable stretch we've ever seen in the postseason, right? That's totally possible. That's what that team is capable of if they all click at the right time, like they did in the first half of the year. The problem is they might not make the playoffs. So we might not even see them even have that opportunity to go on the upswing. The pitching, extremely volatile. Fried's been volatile recently. Rodon's historically volatile since he's signed a contract here. Cam Schlittler's just got promoted. Will Warren's been volatile, although much better as of late. Very big fan of Will Warren and what he's done lately. He's playing like he's got something to prove, and he gave that team a chance to win yesterday. He went toe-to-toe with Eovaldi, for 5 innings. And then, you talk about, obviously, you just recently DFA Marcus Stroman, the bullpen. Guys that should be a rock. Bednar, he had that one bad, debut, but otherwise, he's looked really good. You know what I mean? Doval, really bad debut. Since then, looks really, really solid. There are guys that just need to be rocks, and the Yankees do not have enough of those rocks. They have too much volatility, and they're very susceptible to the guys around them struggling. When everyone around them is struggling, they tend to follow suit. You can't have that, and I think that, I'm not going to blame Boone for that because I think it's also a player problem. But, man, like, in a moment like this, Ryan, I have to say, I mean, look, Bellinger's been fantastic, but in moments like this, you actually really miss Juan Soto because he galvanizes a whole team with the way he plays, the way he goes about his at-bats, the way he grinds out. He electrifies everybody around him, and that's not to say the Mets have been really good lately because they've actually been just as bad as the Yankees. But, like, when the Yankees went through bad stretches last year, they had a guy that was consistently going to show up and create damage, and he was capable of going up against Eovaldi and punishing him. You know what I mean? A guy that can just go up against the best of the best and punish them in big moments. The Yankees kind of miss that right now, and it's you're kind of seeing like they miss that other rock that can hold it down when things are going bad.
It also just, again, like this group, I'm going to be honest, they don't have it. They don't. There's something that you can learn something about a team's identity every year. This team doesn't have it. This group is just, again, they're not going to bounce back from this one. They're not. They have to prove they will. They've lost that favor of like, okay, in June you go, they'll be fine. They're not going to be fine. This group isn't going to be fine. This group doesn't have it in them to be fine. You mean to tell me, why would anyone believe that the New York Yankees are going to rebound from this? Give me one reason why anyone would ever believe the New York Yankees are going to rebound from this. Give me some point. Well, look at what they did in 2024. Yeah, in 2024, it never got to the point where they were battling for a playoff spot in August. Never got to that point. So don't point me to 2024. Don't go, in 2022 it was bad for a bit. They never lost the division lead. So I don't want to hear that either. And they won 99 games. Like, that team was on a historic start and then played 500 baseball basically. This team was on a good start and has played below 500 baseball for over 2 months. Very different. Again, you want to look at 2021 and say, well, they weren't in a playoff spot for certain stretches. Yeah, and what happened out of it? They got stomped in the wild card round by the Red Sox. Very embarrassing year for the New York Yankees. I really struggle. I'm struggling to see where the recent example of the New York Yankees clawing out of a hole to galvanize their season and when they were on the depths of defeat and looking at like they were going to miss the playoffs entirely. Oh, and then they... What, you got to go back a couple decades? You got to go back like to when either I wasn't born or I was a very young man. Different manager, different, just a different organization as a whole. This team doesn't claw out of holes. They don't do it. They don't claw out of holes. They don't. So I don't want to hear Well, they'll look at the precedent. Their pitching staff hasn't pitched well. Their pitching staff doesn't show any signs of pitching better. Their pitching staff shows no signs of caring about getting ahead in the count and attacking the zone. Their pitching staff is comfortable giving other teams games. They would rather, a lot of guys in this staff, and I think this is actually a little bit selfish, a lot of guys in this staff would rather walk 2 guys than give up the solo home run, up 3-4 runs. Or at least that's how they pitch. Maybe it's not what they're trying to do, but that's how they pitch. It's like, solo home run up 6-0 for Carlos Rodon. That right there, that would be a backbreaker. But walking someone and then allowing the home run, that's not that bad. Leaving Loaiza in a situation where he's got multiple guys on and only one out, that's not that bad. I don't know what else to say. This group, they got to show me now. They make errors every day. They play stupid baseball every day, and they pitch like crap every day. I'm not seeing it until all 3 of those things change. They're going to miss the playoffs. That's just where we're at right now. They're going to miss the postseason. They're not turning this one around.
Yep, you're absolutely right. 5-game losing streak. I mean, there's not much more to say. They're 6.5 games back in the AL East right now. There's time to claw. They could get back in it just as fast as they lost it. But the run differential argument is no longer reality. They have an 87 run differential, and the Red Sox have 85. So, I'd argue that right now they are...
The Red Sox are the better team. The Red Sox are the better team. They just are. They're better than you. When you played them and you had a chance to sink their season, remember that back in, play them in Yankee Stadium, play them in Fenway, you had 2 chances to sink their season, and then you shit the bed because that's what you do. So just to clarify, in this stretch in June, 0-2 against the Rangers. You did sweep the Mariners. I will give them credit for that. They did handle business against the Mariners. They beat the crap out of them. Embarrassed by the Red Sox, embarrassed by the Blue Jays, swept by the Rangers, or potentially swept by the Rangers, depending on how today goes. They're not going to win. They're not going to win with this. It has to be a switch. It has to be a difference in quality of play. It's not enough to just be like, just a luck here, bounce ball here, something goes your way there. No. It's got to change today.
Now. The Red Sox signed one of those rock guys. You know what I'm talking about? One of those guys that every given day, he's going to make shit happen. His name's Alex Bregman, right? They pay the man, and every single day that guy delivers because that's what he's done his whole career. Every single game, that dude delivers. So it's like the Yankees don't have enough guys like that. And I know, the price tag was too lofty for their appetite, last offseason when they got Bellinger and obviously and Fried, and they paid a bunch of guys. So I'm not going to blame them for that. But, they miss guys like that, guys that are just rock solid all the time. The Yankees live and die by the volatility of their team and the way they construct the roster. And it works and it doesn't work. The first half of the season, they were untouchable. The second half of the season, they've been, very touchable. So, I do think that right now, if you're the Yankees, you really got to, we could keep saying play with urgency, but it doesn't matter. It's just words, just empty words. They actually have to turn it into action. But Devin Williams, to round out the whole kind of debate here is he cannot be trusted anywhere close to the 8th or 9th inning. He, in my opinion, is a 6th or 7th inning pitcher at this point until proven otherwise. You have to earn the right to be a high leverage guy. You got to earn the right. The Yankees at this point in time are hand delivering him opportunities that he does not deserve. So hopefully they can change that because right now, you have to swallow your pride and do what's best to win baseball games, not toss a guy out in the highest critical situation and then watch him blow it again. You know what I mean? It's about time to make a change there. So, guys, always happy to hear your thoughts down below in the YouTube comment section. Make sure to like and subscribe as always. And we'll catch you guys on the next Fireside Yankees episode.